Uber may be using PUA to its advantage. PUA, if you're not familiar with it, is Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. And under the coronavirus relief law, this type of unemployment was expanded to help cover gig economy workers and independent contractors. These are types of people that in the past were not covered by unemployment programs. And during times when Uber rides were cut by up to 80% during this pandemic, assistance like this is definitely something that Uber and Lyft drivers and other gig economy workers need. But some gig workers are actually afraid to take this. So we're going to take a look at an article from CNBC that outlines one Uber driver's experience who's kind of concerned about taking PUA. He does not want to take out these benefits because he's concerned how this might be used by Uber to fight against AB5. Now, AB5 is also something that we've covered on this channel, and this bill went into effect in January, essentially challenging the fact that gig economy workers were independent contractors instead of full-time employees. So the outcome is to reclassify those workers. Certain Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, other gig economy employees were hoping for things like back pay and better benefits as a result of this bill. And it's definitely a heavily debated bill. When I post videos on this, I have a lot of people on both sides of the argument. Some that believe they're entitled to back pay, others who think that they signed up as independent contractors, that's what the contract said, they're okay with that. They actually like the freedom that these apps give them. But I'm not going to get too deep into this debate for this video. What I want to focus on is whether or not Uber would be able to use these PUA applications in their fight against AB5. Recently, they have had some success with some ballot initiatives in order to push that fight forward and essentially get them closer to sustaining that independent contractor status of their workers. And here's why workers are nervous. They're worried that in order to take advantage of PUA, of this unemployment assistance that's available to independent contractors, gig workers, these self-employed, they're essentially classifying themselves as independent contractors. And this is something that Uber could take to court and then argue that these drivers, that these delivery drivers, all of these people were not full-time employees and that they designated themselves as this when they applied for PUA. The article goes on to take a look at many different sides of this argument, and a lot of the authorities are saying that no, Uber cannot use this in court, but there is always some gray area. Just about anything can be used in court. Uber will use whatever they can in court, and logically thinking, I mean, there's definitely some amount of convincing arguments out there that this is something that Uber could be using in court. So let's take a look at exactly what the authorities are saying, what different people are saying about whether or not you should go ahead and take advantage of this PUA if you have not already. So the first group that was interviewed and surveyed in this article is the Protect App-Based Drivers Initiative, and it represents about 56,000 drivers. So this initiative, to be completely unbiased, is actually sponsored by the gig apps, but they do have drivers on their side. And Stacey Wells, who's a spokeswoman for the campaign, went into some detail here because she has been pushing very hard. Their whole initiative right now is to get as many independent contractors, as many drivers on PUA as possible. So they're working with drivers to help them get these benefits. And she says it's really a false narrative that Uber, DoorDash, Lyft, or someone would be able to take this to court and target individual drivers who accepted PUA. Now, drivers may not trust Stacey Wells because actually this coalition, this campaign, was created in order to kind of push back against AB5. So there might not be a whole lot of trust there, but what she's saying, the sum and substance of this is essentially that Uber is not going to be able to say, hey, this individual applied for PUA, we're not going to give him the back pay that he was owed. There's no way for them to know which specific drivers took advantage of this. But while they may not be able to pinpoint which individual drivers took advantage of this, as a whole, they may be able to take something into court like, a certain percentage of drivers in California took advantage of PUA. They all confirmed that they were independent contractors. This is something they could use in court. Now, Stacey did not go into any of this. This is personal speculation on my hand. It is something that I think Uber could use, but let's keep going. Let's look at a couple authoritative statements here. A spokesperson for Uber actually also made a statement on PUA, and he is saying that PUA is fully funded by Congress. So traditionally speaking, unemployment benefits are something that companies also pay into, and that helps them cover workers in times of need. But Uber has not been paying into this. Essentially, it was funded by Congress. It's going to come back to taxpayers. So, the next time you hop in an Uber, think you're getting a great price, remember that you are going to be taxed for those unemployment benefits that are paying out, because Uber has not classified these independent contractors as full-time workers. Julie Su, who's California's labor secretary, also weighed in on the matter, basically saying that accepting PUA does not affect your employment status, and it has no bearing, no ground on that. So another big statement here, and essentially what we're getting at is these authoritative figures do want gig economy workers to take advantage of PUA. Whether or not you think it's going to come back against you, most of these authoritative figures are saying no, it is not. It's not going to affect AB5, but the money is there to help you right now. So it's better to take advantage right now during a time of need than to wait further down the road for something that may not ever show up. We don't know if AB5 is going to effectively give drivers back pay, if that's something that they'd be able to take advantage of, if that's even going to hold up in court. And the last person that weighed on this was Cori Saylor, and he is a government relations manager for the Washington Center of Equitable Growth. Essentially what he's saying is that gig workers are on very firm ground here, taking advantage of PUA, but that doesn't necessarily mean that companies are not going to come back and use this as an argument in court. So this was kind of a really unbiased opinion here. He's basically saying, confirming that you are able to take advantage of these benefits, but it may show up in court later. So let me know what you think. Do you think that Uber is going to use this against drivers in court to try and get AB5 taken down, to try and fight against this law that has been put into place as of January? And is this going to be effective for Uber? If you're in the gig economy and you haven't taken advantage of PUA, maybe you're still earning money. Not everyone is driving for Lyft or Uber. You may be delivering, you may be shopping, and there's still money on the table there. There are still gig economy apps that are producing income. You may want to check out getting a PPP loan as an independent contractor. I have another video on that. You can go ahead and look into that, and that's a good way to access cash. It's a forgivable loan that you won't have to pay back, and you do not have to be on these PUA benefits. So just another angle there if you're concerned about PUA, or if you do not want PUA. Not everyone wants to be on PUA if they have income coming in. And make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all of the latest gig economy updates.